welcome to Meet the Authors. We're here at the Orlando, Florida Writers Conference, where we have over 500 authors. It's just amazing, the wonderful people who are here and telling us about their books. And I am happy to present to you Melody Dean Dimick. Is that right?
Yes,
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Hi, Melody. So, gosh, you got two books, two different genres. Which would you like to talk about first?
Well, I'd like to talk about Blame. I published Blame first.
This is her book. I'll bring it right up to the camera. Yeah.
Blame is set in the northern Adirondack Mountains.
Okay.
In upstate New York, they call it, but this is really upstate New York. The school is probably 20 minutes from Canada.
All right.
My characters live in a very rural area. They have problems, but they're not the same problems that city kids have.
I imagine.
In one way, but in others, we all have.
Teenage years are hard.
Yes, and most of the time, I write about the angst of being a teenager.
It is tough, finding your place in the world.
Yes, and falling in love, losing love, falling in love, it's all there.
Yep. Oh, and it's so more intense when you're a teenager because it's new and fresh. I love him with all my heart. Oh my gosh, I lost him. I'm going to commit suicide.
And seriously,
Yeah.
that is a problem. I did lose a student to suicide,
Oh.
and I have been asked if I would write my next poem about suicide. The mother of that boy asked me if I would write about suicide. And just, unfortunately, when I went on my book tour to the north, people who usually came to my book signings sent a message that they weren't going to be there. And the next day I found out that the grandchild had attempted suicide. Later in our trip, the mother said, something has to be done. Somebody needs to write about this. Why don't you write about this? So that's probably going to be the topic of my next book. I'm probably going to have something about either a suicide or a suicide attempt.
That's so important to get those feelings out there and try to get people aware of how much harm it does to everybody. You think suicide, oh, it's a solution, but it's not. It creates so many issues for everybody you leave behind. Terrible thing. This is a young adult book.
Yes, and this one, Blame, is about a different problem. This is about divorce.
Oh.
And I don't think parents understand the problems that arise from a divorce. I mean, they know their problems, they're feeling their problems, but they don't know that the children are blaming themselves sometimes.
Always.
I had a girl one time who said, well, my parents are fighting over who's going to get my brother, but nobody's fighting about me. And that, I thought, was very sad. In one school situation, a young boy was at the top of his class when he first came into my room, and as a result of his mother's affair, he ended up at the bottom, or just about the bottom of his class.
This ruins the whole perspective of desire to achieve. You get the feeling, why should I try to be good when my parents aren't setting the right role models?
And he wouldn't go to school. I mean, he just couldn't face people, somehow or other. Now, in my book, Blame, this particular one, the young man finds a message on his father's cell phone. And the message says to him, I'm afraid something's going to happen to my parents' marriage if I don't step in. Now, my characters in this particular series that I'm writing are into manga. They are think they're superheroes,
Oh, yeah.
and they're into technology. And so they try to solve problems and to change the world. They're those students who like to, wear the costumes, like the Batman and all of those costumes. So in this book, the young man is not only afraid his parents are going to get a divorce, but he soon realizes that he's going to lose his girlfriend if he doesn't pay some attention to her. And then he's on the soccer team, and there's even a problem that arises there.
It's so important in a good book to have a lot of subplots to keep things moving with different interests. That sounds like you really have a nice system going in there. I like that. Very, very nice. And I was looking inside. It's one of these easy-to-read books with just the right things for children. I don't know if you can see this, but the nice white spaces and great paragraph formations. And it's the type of chapter book that young readers are really going to enjoy getting into. Let's go on to the other book.
My other book, Backpack Blues, took me years to write. It's a collection of just about 100 small poems. The majority of the poems are persona poems in the vein of Spoon River Anthology. I let the characters tell their stories. Each individual character tells about his or her problem, but I connect them all because they are all seniors at the same high school, and their lives do interact, and they do make comments about each other, and there is an inciting incident that really sets them all back for a while.
So you read me some poetry from this book, so I didn't realize there's like a plot to it and then the poems within?
Yes, it's not quite a novel in verse, although my publisher likes to call it a novel in verse, but it's close to a novel in verse. It certainly does tell a story, and it does so in verse poem.
Let's have you read a poem.
I'd love to. Now, this poem is called Noah Newman. Siri talks back. Unlike the girl in calculus class, she answers my questions. She reminds me when assignments are due. She places my phone calls. She tells me the weather so I know enough to wear a coat. She doesn't care that I'm a computer whiz. Thanks, Dad, for the personal assistant. She was the perfect Christmas gift. Unfortunately, Mrs. Dion has said, cell phones are not allowed in class. So I've turned Siri off. Reluctantly, I must admit, she's not the first girl I've turned off.
What a great story. And the book is a whole bunch of classmates all set in the senior year telling the story of the senior year. That's so much fun. Let's see the cover on this one again. This is a cover photo. Where did you get the cover photo?
Actually, a person by the name of Chris Holmes designed this cover. Chris is an award-winning cover artist. She's a member of the Florida Writers Association.
This is a wonderful association, and I think it's one of the best writers group I've ever been to, for sure.
I agree, and I'm the new president of the Florida Writers Foundation, and that is the sister organization of the Florida Writers Association, and our goal is to reduce illiteracy.
Nice.
And we know that that's a major problem in our country and results in a lot of people being in the court systems.
Yeah, if you can't read, you can't follow the rules, you can't follow the laws. So there's something. So tell us, where can we get your books?
My books are available on Amazon.com.
Okay.
They are available through my publisher, Taylor & Seal Publishing.
Very nice. So, and you have a website too?
I have a website, and I put my website on my little Do Not Disturb cards that I give out, I find teenagers like to have privacy
Sure,
in
for
their
them.
room.
Uh-huh.
So my Do Not Disturb says, "Do not disturb, reading a Melody Dean Dimick book."
Ah.
And the website is in the computer. Unlike most people, I don't have a pen, a quill. I never really liked to write with a pen or pencil, and I liked a typewriter when I was younger. And at first, I didn't think I'd like it, but now I love the computer.
It's wonderful to work with.
It is. So one side says "Do Not Disturb" and gives all my information. On the other side, I have the 4 books that I have written. I have written Silent Screams, Sinister Silence, Blame, and Backpack Blues. Now, Backpack Blues was a 2016 Royal Palm Literary Award winner.
First place.
First place.
How about that?
Yes.
Very, very impressive. It's such a joy to have you on our show. You have some great books, good stories to tell. Thank you so much for coming on our show, Melody.
Thank you for inviting me. It's my pleasure.
It's been great. So stay tuned after these messages. Perhaps we'll have another show, another episode of Meet the Authors, or next week we'll have more local authors about their books. Thanks for tuning in.